Fear can come in many shapes and forms, and video games especially take advantage of that. The enemies in this list compromise not only of looking scary on the outside, but what they are capable of actually doing that makes them truly scary. Starting off the list is every new Fallout player's nightmare, Deathclaw. These government experimental chameleons turned into super soldiers are as terrifying as they come. I mean, look at these things. Deathclaws were created to be a replacement soldier in the Great War, but apparently were never used. So instead they escaped and, well, became the apex predator around the wasteland. Those claws will literally rip anything apart. Unexpected new players will not be ready for the first encounter with a Deathclaw, as it is quite a surprise. Just make sure you're packing some serious guns at all times, because you never know when you'll run into a wild Deathclaw ready to tear you into shreds. Up next is the iconic creature, the Big Daddy. When players first meet the Big Daddy, it's unforgettable. The mere fact that you know at some point you'll have to face off against one of these massive divers is a scary thought indeed. The Big Daddy's job is to protect the little sister, and yeah, they definitely do that. Armed with a massive drill and with an obsession with charging at their victims, if you cross a Big Daddy, you better be ready to dodge or you'll be instantly killed. Their menacing look mixed with Raptor's destruction creates an ominous darkness about the Big Daddy that is sure to send shivers down anyone's spine. Next up is something that isn't just scary in looks, but scary in their capabilities as a whole, the Flood. When players first started playing the first Halo, nobody was expecting to see zombies. They caught so many people off guard. When you first see the horde of flying heads come at you, it's something that will stick with you forever. What makes the Flood so terrifying is that the parasite can adapt to any environment and living organism, turning them into weapons to take over the galaxy. And spoiler alert, the Halo rings were massive bombs to kill all sentient life in the galaxy to stop the Flood. If that doesn't make the Flood one of the scariest enemies in gaming history, then I don't know what is. If you hate spiders, and if you hate that chick from The Grudge, you definitely won't like who's at number 7. It's Spider Laura from The Evil Within. Laura is definitely scary in the literal sense of the word. The recreation of Rubik's sister and some angry giant spider human is straight out of horror. The way she moves around the halls chasing you is so creepy. Her monstrous spider legs, hands, and creepy face don't help either. But above all else, that scream is the scariest part. I can't handle it. While there are many scary enemies within The Evil Within, Laura is arguably the scariest. I'm sorry, but whoever thought of this next enemy should be in a psych ward. I'm talking about the extremely gross and terrifying Bloodlicker. Imagine seeing that in real life. You couldn't seriously attempt to fight that before you were into a paralyzed state. The walking mosquito flea thing is absolutely ridiculous, and it gets worse. The giant blood sac underneath them is gross as and their long nasty tongues make me gag. And whoever named them Bloodlicker, they ain't licking blood. They are literally sucking it out of you. Halfway through the list and we've come upon something more gross than Bloodlickers, the Necromorphs. Yes, the alien creatures that could bring dead bodies back together with what are basically daggers and swords connected to their hands. The Necromorph is an iconic enemy in the horror franchise and has always been talked about as one of the scariest. Which you can't tell me they aren't because, well, I highly beg to differ. Dead Space's ominous setting and creepy spaceship is already scary. As you can see, if a Necromorph can get a hold of you, you're definitely getting ripped apart worse than a Mortal Kombat fatality. At 4, we have a human, I guess you can call him that, a psychotic doctor from Outlast, Richard Trager. When you first meet Richard, it is not under good circumstances, but any circumstances wouldn't be good, right? What makes him so scary is the fact that he performs horrendous experiments on everyone, and likes to cut off limbs and genitalia. What is truly terrifying besides his looks, although you can make a case for that, and I wouldn't disagree, but for me, it's his demeanor. He still has his sanity for the most part and understands what is going on and what he's doing, all while cracking some jokes. This is true madness and what puts Richard Trager so high on the list. Starting the top 3 are the clickers from the Last of Us series. I don't care what you think of the series as a whole, but you can't tell me the clickers aren't the scariest enemies in the game. 1, they look absolutely horrifying. Humans with no faces is something that inherently is scary in itself. 2, their staggering motion movements are utterly spine-tingling. It's like seeing Kyoko from The Grudge for the first time. It's gross. And 3, the sounds that come out of the clickers is something I shouldn't ever need to hear again. I can't even begin to describe them, so I'll play a clip. Yeah, and it's like the clickers are working together to hunt. It's super scary. I had a hard time with the last 2, but I decided at number 2 is going to be the Baker family from Resident Evil Biohazard. Everything about them is sadistic, scary, and actually quite sad. Spoilers. This normal family from the Louisiana turned murderous cannibals is one of the most haunting families you can ever encounter in gaming. That dinner scene is literally one of the creepiest scenes that is in all of gaming and is unforgettable. And I can't even describe how insane Jack is, it's off the charts. He literally loves being attacked by Ethan, often taunting him and waiting to be hit, especially by a car. But his molded form is way worse. Speaking of worse, Margaret takes the cake. She is literally horrifying, especially in that mold form. It's one of the scariest enemies I've ever seen in gaming. There is something about elongated body parts that just doesn't sit right with me. And Lucas, well, I don't have much to say about poor old Lucas. The Bakers are truly a terrifying and sad story, and could have been number 1 if it wasn't for this guy right here. Pyramid Head. Is it possible not to put this dude at number 1? Pyramid Head embodies all things horror. And I know I've said it multiple times in the video, but when you first see Pyramid Head just standing there doing absolutely nothing, it's kind of a WTF moment because you have no idea what he's gonna do. All you know is that this dude shouldn't be messed with. His butcher look with his iconic long dragging knife with his giant pyramid head makes Pyramid Head a genuine terror to behold. These dudes punish everything they deem deserve it, even the other monsters within Silent Hill, making them really horrifying. Pyramid Head is one of the most recognizable enemies in gaming history and is fully deserving of the top spot. These enemies are downright scary in their own ways, but I know I missed some others since there are just so many. Let me know which ones you would have on the list. A like on this video helps the channel a ton, and click this video here for more awesome content.